The St. Louis Blues were still able to get points against a very competitive Dallas Stars team, and I am extremely happy with how the St. Louis Blues played last night.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to Locked On Blues. I am your host of Locked On Blues, Haley Taylor Simon, where I talk to you all things St. Louis Blues here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Again, just a reminder, you can get this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Sirius, any podcast form, really. So definitely make sure to subscribe on YouTube or give it a big like if you're listening somewhere else. Today's episode, I am going to talk to you about the Blues putting up a fight despite them losing a shootout against the Dallas Stars. Again, the home opener is tomorrow night. It is currently Friday the 13th. I know spooky. It's spooky because there's no Blues hockey, but the home opener will be tomorrow night. And then, of course, my favorite Friday topic, are we feeling blue? So this is all coming up on today's episode. And I just want to say one thing before I dive deeper into today's episode. It was so nice to watch some St. Louis Blues hockey again. So I was having the time of my life yesterday watching. I do want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Jase Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jase case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50 plus infections. Get yours today at jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. The St. Louis Blues, they definitely put up a huge fight last night against the Dallas Stars. And unfortunately, the Blues did end up losing in the shootout, but there are so many more things to talk about with this game and how it all went down. So what I'd like to do here in Locked On Blues, again, this is my first season of being your host, but again, I've been a Blues fan forever. This is my custom Blues sweater. That's my number 19. So this was like a fun little kind of recreation of this year's reverse retro jersey because I liked it, but that's not the point. The point is that Jordan Binnington looked like an all-star last night. He stopped 33 goals for St. Louis Blues. And I really do think that despite the outcome of the game, this team really was able to put up a fight. Now, I did mention in yesterday's episode that there's a couple people on the Stars that made me a little bit nervous. And one of them, of course, was Jamie Benn, who did get one of the goals for the Stars. But our very own Tyler Tucker scored. And I was really impressed. I mean, obviously, Tyler Tucker is a defender, so for him to get a score was quite nice. And then, of course, our boys Sammy Blais and Jacob Van Rooy each had an assist, so their first assist for the season. And over time, it's funny because this was a very competitive OT, and I was not expecting this game to even go into overtime. I honestly, and I talked about this on the episode, the Stars are a team that are going to be very difficult for the Blues with how their offense is, their defense, and of course you have Jake Ottinger in net. But the Blues even going to OT, it just showed that this is a competitive team and a team that should not be, taken lightly. And I think they really did make a name for themselves out on the ice last night as a team that has that playoff potential, right? So OT last night, obviously, when nothing happens in OT, what do? You go to a shootout. And the Stars ended up winning that shootout. But the point is this. The St. Louis Blues last night, I think, played some of their best hockey. And just to let you know how the shootout went, just so you know, Jordan Kyrou, it ended up being saved by Jake Ottinger. And then Tyler Seguin went up, and that was saved by Boehner, so nobody scored. And then Boucher, his shot on net got saved. And then former Nashville Predator, hello and welcome to the Stars. It is Matt Duche, and his goal went in. Our captain, though, Braden Shen, his goal went in. But I told you this guy would be a problem. Jackson Robertson ended up getting the Stars' winning goal in the shootout. There's co-host Stella, my cat, if you cannot see on YouTube. I also, if you see this, I burnt myself by accident with my curling iron. So if you see a big mark, I'm fine. But anywho, considering that I didn't even expect this game to go to overtime, considering that I didn't really have these high expectations for Jordan Binghamton, I was thoroughly impressed with how the game went. And this really just solidifies that the St. Louis Blues could have had a fluke season last year, which is something I said from day one of me taking over the Lockdown Blues podcast. But I liked what I saw out of our captain. I love saying that. I liked mostly what I saw out of Binner. And I think that was my number one takeaway, that Jordan Binghamton looks like his old self again, which is very important because let's be completely honest here. And I think that's something that I have a hard time with because as a fan, you just want to be positive. You don't want to be negative. I, of course, had doubt when it came to the Blues this season. I had doubt with how Binner would be. I had doubt, and it's not a nice feeling to have doubt within a team that you truly do love and want the best for. But again, at the end of the day, it is what it is. And just to give you a little bit of how our friends in the Central are doing, Colorado, I mean, honestly, everybody played one game besides Nashville and Chicago. But did Arizona not even play a game yet? Wait, why do I feel like Arizona didn't play yet? I don't think Arizona played a game yet. No, they haven't. Or have they? No, they haven't. That's weird. But yeah, right. No, they did play. They won. Why does that even not, whatever. Excuse me for that. But right now, the Blues are the sixth in the Central, which is fine. I mean, they literally just have 1 point. I mean, Winnipeg doesn't have any. But the Blues tomorrow, and I will dive deeper into this in a segment a little bit later on, they will play the Kraken. And I'm going to talk about that, so I'm not going to go into too much detail right now. But I'm not worried at all. I mean, I told you this Central team is going to be, this division will be good. And it's something that I'm not concerned about. But I did want to say this. I wanted to ask you on Twitter at Locked On Blues your thoughts towards the games. I think that it's really important to get your thoughts and your opinions because, again, this podcast, it's not just me. This is you. So yesterday, not yesterday, today, I slept for 12 hours today, by the way, after work, which is really impressive. But I said for today's episode, I want you to know your thoughts on last night's game. Are you happy with what you saw? So before I even look at your replies, I was happy with how the game went. I was impressed, and a point is a point. So Justin said, I couldn't see how you could be upset. I agree, Justin. You can't be upset after that kind of game. Okay, Dak, T-Mac fan card said, happy to see defense played really well for the first two periods at least. I hope it's the start of a trend. Binner stole that point as he was really on his game. Absolutely. This was a Jordan Binghamton game. The defense did step up. I do agree. I mean, that third period, a little bit not as good, but this was a Binner game. And then Niall, like the river, sort of, said, as long as we get points, I am fine with the outcome. And I do like that. I think as long as the Blues play hard, I mean, as I did mention, the Dallas Stars team is a cup contending team. And I think that when you're able to put up that big of a fight against a team like that, it definitely will give you some confidence heading into tomorrow, which is a perfect segue. If I was doing a Stars podcast, I would have said a perfect Seguin, like Tyler Seguin, but this is a blues podcast, so I'm not, but I still wanted to kind of say that joke. All right, before I dive into things, I'm going to tell you about my friends over at Jase Medical. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. That's why Jase Medical offers the Jase case. The Jase case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use and gives you peace of mind so that you're not just hoping that you have the access to medication in an emergency. Jase Medical makes sure you have the medication in hand. Jase Medical is simple. They handle everything from the online evaluation to a licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultations and care. Don't get caught unprepared. If you want to get $20 off on these life-saving antibiotics today from Jase Medical by using my code locked on at checkout on jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. Bum, 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 home opener tomorrow. That is right. Your St. Louis Blues are going to be back at Enterprise playing for the best fans in the planet. And it is so, so nice to know that our Blues are marching on home. I can't wait for this game. I think that there is such an energy and such a passion that our fans have. And, playing in front of your home crowd with your newly appointed captain is going to be an insane atmosphere. So if you're going to the game tomorrow, let me know. I want to see pictures and videos. I want to consume it all because I doubt the broadcast will show me everything that I want to see. More importantly, this is a game that I do think the Blues can win. I was going to say easily, but I don't want to sound too confident. I'm not confident, but too But the Blues will take on the Seattle Kraken, and I'm not worried about this at all. I don't think I mean, okay. Let's be objective here. I have watched the Kraken to get a feel for how they are. So I looked back, I was watching some tapes, and the thing about the Kraken is they come out a little bit hot and heavy, but then very quickly, what I've noticed is that they can't get on the ice. So I do think the Blues will outplay them with the longevity, but it will be very interesting to see how the Kraken do with this. I mean, they lost to the Vegas Golden Knights, who were the reigning Stanley Cup champions 4-1, and then they lost to Nashville 3-0. So they've only accumulated 1 goal in this regular season thus far, and that was against Vegas. And again, they still got beat by 3 goals. So both of the teams they played, they both got beat by 3 goals. So the Kraken, it's so funny when I talk about the record right now because it's so early, but they're 0-2. So they don't even have any points and they play 2 games. So I'm just putting it out there like that. But when it comes to, I guess you can say, who on the Kraken should worry you the most? Is it bad if I say nobody? I mean, I guess you can say Jared McCann because he's literally the only goal scorer for the Kraken in these 2 games. And listen, I'm not trying to come out here and diss on another team. That's not what I am trying to do whatsoever. I just, I'm just not. I just don't see the Kraken being a team that is gonna be as much competition as the Stars were for the Blues. And I don't wanna say that in a negative way. Like, tomorrow in net for the Kraken, because we all know it's gonna be Binner most. It is going to be Philipp Grubauer, and he's actually German, a little fun fact. That's how I actually knew of him. But, that's not the point. I speak German, that's why I was like, in case you didn't know. It's not that he's bad in net. It's just the Kraken don't really have a strong defense. Hey, it sounds familiar, right? But I think that this will be a game that you will see the Blues truly, truly thrive. And I think that's important for the St. Louis Blues team, is to see the Blues come out strong, because the Stars, that was a little tough of a season opener. And I'll give them that for putting in their full effort. They definitely did try quite a bit, but I think playing at home is a little bit different than anything else. So, just to give you a little bit of a heads up for tomorrow, the Blues will have a home opener rally starting at 3 p.m. And you can hear some live music. Braden Shen will be there. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. So, it's going to be a whole day of festivity. Puck drop isn't until 7. So, it's going to be quite a day. So, make sure you head out early to Enterprise. But I do think, and this is funny. This is from former Blue Jaden Schwartz, who is actually on the Kraken now. We didn't quite execute well enough. I think that is interesting. And I know that quote, like, you could take that as like, Haley, like, that's literally anytime a team doesn't perform well. But it's saying that for some reason, I'm not trying to, again, hate on the Kraken, but Jaden thinks that the Kraken have. I'm back. I disappeared for a second. I got so upset, I just like exited out. But Jaden still thinks that the Kraken have a chance, which is interesting. So obviously their execution wasn't well enough, but I mean, we'll see. And it's going to be interesting to see how that comes into play. So I like doing my little stats, and the Blues are actually 33, 19, and 2 in all time of their home openers. And the Blues are 4-2 against Seattle and 2-1 at Enterprise. And Nick Leddy is expected to dress in his 100th game as a Blue tomorrow. So that is going to be something that's a little bit excited. And this will be the first time that, again, Captain Braden Shen will be playing in front of the home crowd after being named the 24th captain of the St. Louis Blues. So I am 1,010%, 1,000 excited for this game. And I know I will be watching that tomorrow night. So I hope you are too. Because if you're not, literally, what else are you going to be doing? Okay. So before I talk about my favorite Friday segment, which you all know, it is time for me to talk to you about my friends at Sleeper. Jordan Binghamton scores a hat trick. The Blues win the Stanley Cup. And you want to win 100 times your money? Play daily fantasy hockey on the Sleeper app. These are all possible scenarios for this season. But to have a chance at winning big, you need to play daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper as the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our top choice for daily fantasy sports, especially daily fantasy hockey. With Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. So when you have guys on the team like a Robert Thomas, because it is RT season, all you need to do is pick more or less on the stats of these guys, right? Choose stats like goals, assists, saves for Benner, right? Plus and minus, and so much more. So St. Louis Blues fans, 100 times payouts on Sleeper. So start paying attention and get your picks in right now so you could win big money. Use promo code Locked On NHL and you'll get $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's Locked On NHL. See Sleeper's term of use for details. My favorite Friday segment, St. Louis. And if you don't know it by now, then you don't know me, because, baby, it is Friday, so are we feeling blue? I am feeling so good this Friday, so no, I'm not feeling blue. I'm feeling a little blued up with my St. Louis Blues getting a point to start off the season against the Dallas Stars, but This has been such a fun week of hockey. I cannot believe the NHL season is already back. I cannot believe that I am seeing my boys wearing the blue note take the ice. It has been such a great couple days. Seriously. I think just getting all amped up for the season and then last night being able to watch the Blues truly was something that meant so much to me because, again, this offseason sucks. When you don't make it to the postseason, it is even longer of an offseason. And not to sound greedy, but I kind of forgot what that was like, considering that the Blues made it to the postseason 5 years in a row. So I was like, okay, this is awful. But it was so nice seeing the aggressiveness from the defense. That surprised me. But most importantly, I'm on cloud nine because of Jordan Binghamton. I think that my concern with him, it was my nerves about how he was going to react this season. And he has proven to me that the old Benner is back. Now, I know it's only been a game. I know it's only been 60 minutes, right, of him in net. But, well, actually more than 60 minutes because of OT in the shootout. So it's been closer to 80 minutes, kind of, give and take. But it has been so good and so positive, and I can't complain yet. There is really nothing for me to complain about yet, which is another thing that's been really refreshing. Because as a Blues fan, we all know last season you could complain every single day if you wanted to, and I did. But I think now, looking forward to this season, I just feel more reassured with everything I said this summer about how I thought last season was a fluke, how I truly believe this team was better than they were showing. And I think after this summer and, all the drum, all that stuff that happened, I don't want to get into that, but all that stuff that happened, it just gives me reassurance that this is a team that can rally behind adversity, and they're proving to you all now, to me, they're proving to everybody in the NHL that this is a team that is something special. And I feel like, and I really hope this doesn't come back to haunt me, I feel like this team could potentially have a chance at the wild card. I know. I got so excited after one game, and we still are looking for our first win. But I think against the Stars, especially, that just took me by surprise. So I am happy. I am feeling so good. My everydayers, let me know how you're feeling. Are you feeling this confident? Are you still feeling a little bit optimistic? Am I being a little too over dramatic? Probably. But I am an excited St. Louis Blues fan who so amped up for tomorrow's home opener. I am buzzing. You know how the boys are buzzing on the ice? I am buzzing at home. So I cannot wait to watch my Blues take on the ice at Enterprise. All right, St. Louis, I will see you. I was going to say tomorrow, but it's the weekend. I'll be on Twitter and I'll probably make a video reacting to the game. Who am I kidding? It's hockey season. I will always be here. So I'll see you tomorrow on some kind of social media or another. Who knows? I'll see you though. All right. And just how I end every single episode, let's go Blues.